Hi everyone, I'm Sam Witte, and this is my discussion board for Chapter 1, Tech and Society. Today, our first topic of the night will be STEM and what it stands for. So STEM is basically, it's an acronym for standing for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. Main four right there. And STEM, you can use it to describe or help you solve problems uh, around the world. Um, Today I'm going to use it to describe something. You can use it to describe dang near anything on Earth. So today I'm going to use a pencil. You'd be surprised on how much information I'll be spitting out using STEM to describe this pencil. Might not think it's much. You can do cool tricks with it. If you hold it the right way, shake it, whatever. But the science behind a pencil, it started in a laboratory somewhere. Someone got the great idea. Oh, I'm gonna stick some lead or some graphite inside this piece of wood. I'm gonna use it to write on a thinly sliced piece of wood. I'm gonna call it paper. But yeah, it had to start somewhere, and that's kind of the science behind it. Science behind a pencil, and science and engineering and STEM kind of go hand in hand. You might get kind of confusing because sometimes you don't know where to draw the line between science and engineering when it comes to STEM. But I definitely have a problem with that because to me, engineering is like a science background. So the science behind a pencil started in a lab somewhere. It was somebody's idea. They had a hypothesis that if you did this, you get this, and so you stuck some lead graphite into a piece of wood, you get a pencil, something to write with. The technology behind a pencil, you might be like, how can you describe the technology behind a pencil? Well, the technology isn't necessarily of the pencil. I mean, yeah, nowadays you have these mechanical pencils where you can pump, and you have these plastic erasers that you're able to erase, and these thin pieces of graphite or lead, whatever you use, and you can take these pencils apart to refill them or change out parts interchangeably and all that jazz. But when I think of technology, I think about the machines used to make this. Like the design had to start on a drafting table. So what's the technology behind this drafting table? Or they mined the graphite or lead, or I don't even know how you get graphite, so I'm gonna go with lead. You mine the lead from somewhere, and somehow you forge this lead in these small cylindrical tubes that you shove into a pencil. You have plastic lathes and plastic extruders to get these plastic parts and heat forming to form the shape of this plastic part. For this plastic eraser or petroleum eraser, it had to come from somewhere, an oil field. Oil pump pumped it out at one point, and it's an oil product. Same as plastic, oil product. So when you actually start thinking of like what goes into making something just as simple as a pencil, it'll really blow your mind. And so that's kind of the technology as far as my view of what the technology is behind a pencil. You got to think way back, and trust me, it's kind of confusing because you'll definitely leave out a couple things or two unless you actually make a list. And you're like, well, you got to do this to start. Like, what is the starting point of a pencil? Let's be honest. It starts in a mine for the graphite or lead, whatever, and then it starts deep underground in the oil field. You pump out oil to get this stuff. So, and then engineering, somebody had to come up with the design to get things rolling. And engineering kind of goes back in time, if you will, like the timeline of a pencil. Like if you want to say the pencil and paper started with the cavemen, they were chiseling stuff into rocks, and then it evolved. It soon became ink with the quill and ink, which could go either way into a pen or a pencil. Today I'm going to use it for the pencil. But yeah, then it evolved even more. They decided to take graphite, or they decided to take lead, and somehow shove it into a wood shaft. And when you sharpened it with a Bowie knife or a knife, in general, a pencil sharpener nowadays, you got something that was a pointy tip that you could write with. You didn't have an eraser at the time, maybe. Then they added the eraser. They found out that, you take these plastic shards and you form them into something solid, and you can use it to erase your mistakes. Interesting fact, or interesting point I should make. But engineering also goes to the design table. So there's a drafting engineer that went into making the design of this specific pencil, because there are several mechanical pencils you can buy and they all look different. So this brand, Bic, the number 2 pencil, 0.7 millimeter graphite lead. Someone had to draw this out using CAD, or before they had CAD, they used a wooden pencil, and they sketched out all the parts, and they configured it all to fit together perfectly. And to go on further with that, then you had the scientists, not the scientists in the lab necessarily, but the engineers out on the floor, working on the machinery that goes back to technology, the machinery used to make this pencil. You had the engineers that actually worked the machines to mold the plastic, to shape the graphite into these small cylindrical tubes that will fit into the pencil and you can use to write, that aren't too brittle, that wouldn't just break on contact with paper. And the mathematics, that kind of ties into engineering too. The mathematics, the numbers that tie into everything in this pencil, like I said, it's 0.7 millimeter lead. Mathematics right there. There's a number. Number 2 pencil. What happened to the number 1 pencil? I don't know. The world may never know. I don't even know if there's a number 1 pencil. They're all just number 2 to me. So yeah, I just described. It wasn't a very good description, but this is my description of a pencil using STEM. And it's just crazy once you start thinking about it, how much STEM ties into everything. Because you could literally take that process I just used to describe this pencil and throw it into a stove or a table or any. It gets so much more complex than you'd think. That's why I used a pencil, because I got a lot out of a pencil, a lot more than you might think I would have. So STEM in construction management. Construction management is going to be my major. I'll be using STEM every day of my life once I get a career in construction management, because STEM is used for solving problems as well as building things. Personally, I want to build and restore houses / barns. So going into that, if a foundation's wrong or something, you have to take these tools, which is the technological side. You have to use the mathematics, using your tape measure, take measurements, mathematics-wise. Engineering, you might have to re-engineer a foundation for a building or something. It's leaning hard right. You want to stand straight up. Anything like that, I will be using it every day. I actually took a class called STEM. It was based all upon using STEM to solve everyday problems and to using teams mostly, I should say, and then describing what you did, how you did it, the steps behind it, all that. And it was kind of a complex class. It was fun because the teacher made it so the projects we did, we'd get something out of it. It was our level, but it's just crazy what STEM is like nowadays. I'm whoever created STEM, or the people who created STEM, they were really geniuses, because I don't think they realized how far it would come. So that's this portion on STEM for this video. Sorry if it took too long. As far as the video shift happens, blew my mind. I didn't know what to think about it. Just from the beginning of that video, like a marketing audience of 50 million, how long it took a radio to get to that point where it was marketing to an audience of 50 million. It took them almost 4 decades, 38 years to be exact, but I'm going to round it up to 4 decades to get 50 million viewers audience-wise and market it out to 50 million people. and there's so much more than 50 million people on this planet. So that shocked me, because ever since I was little, I've been listening to the radio. I didn't think nothing of it. So, but it evolved from radio to TV to your phone that you use every day. You don't even think about it. And then the final fact it had on there was Pokemon Go, marketed to 50 million people in under a month, 19 days. Just, it's crazy how far we've come. I think the radio, I don't know when the radio came out. I don't know. I forgot the year that was on the video. Sorry for that. But when it said it took them 38 years to market to 50 million people, I just thought it was a crazy fact. Let's be honest, it kind of is. This day and age, we're in the information age. So, you know, and what they're saying now is every 2 years, the information we have on this earth doubles. Wow. I mean, are you kidding me? Doubles. MIT courses, you can get an undergraduate and a graduate degree from MIT online for free. If I had known that, I'm sorry, for his day, I wouldn't be here. I'd be an MIT graduate. For free, an MIT level education. Granted, I'm probably not certified to get an MIT level education, but that's okay. Nearly 6 million people search on Google every day. I mean, if I would to really think about it, of how many times I search Google for something at work, at school, you know, in my free time, when I'm looking stuff up, when I want to know how to do something, you know, when I want to buy something, Google's the first thing I go to. So I can honestly see 6 billion people going on Google and searching something. I'm honestly surprised it's not more, because, you know, there are third world countries, I understand that, but most of us are in this day and age where we have phones at our fingertips sitting right in our pockets, just ready to do whatever we want to do. So it's just crazy in that aspect of things. And soon, instead of using, I'm sure Google's well ahead of the game on that, but augmented reality, you won't even need to search Google. Google will come out with an app, I'm sure it will be like augmented camera. You literally tap the app, you go, and you say you want to know about this door, what kind of door it is. Shine your camera on it, and it says, oh, this is a 30 by 80 door, you know, it's a hardwood door, it comes with a brass handle, you know, the hardware on this door, it's got 2 hinges instead of 3. You know, that's all you need to do. You walk into a store and shine your camera on it, and it'll be like, this is what it is, this is the price, you know. And I'm sure it'll turn into an amazing marketing tool within the next 5 to 10 years. Augmented reality will hit the market and be crazy. So that's something that kind of blew my mind. And like the half-life of an engineering information is now 4 years. So if you think about it, all y'all engineering majors coming in as freshmen, when you graduate, that information you learned in your engineering classes as a freshman, useless. There'll be brand new information that's more accurate. So just the thought of that is unreal. I can't, obviously you don't realize how much you grow and how much you learn throughout your time in life. But watching that video kind of made me think back, like, oh yeah, I remember when this was a true fact. And then you think about it 2 years later, it's no longer a true fact. Like, shoot, I was in grade school when they said Pluto wasn't a planet. Blew my mind. There's no longer 9 planets, there's 8. Pluto's not a planet. Okay. Crushing a fucking... Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cuss. Crushing a 5th grader's dream right there. Thought I was going to go to Pluto and be an astronaut, you know, whatever. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is the top 5 jobs, most needed jobs, didn't exist 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was 11 years old. I was in middle school. And I can honestly say that's true because now that I've graduated, even though I'm going into a career field that's been around for hundreds of years, construction, um, I know a lot of my friends that are going into computer database and computer programming and stuff like that, and none of that was really around. I mean, like Steve Jobs and stuff, obviously were doing that stuff, but I sure wasn't. Didn't think I was even gonna come close to doing any of that stuff. Obviously, I'm not, but I know people who are, and I'm like, wow, I did not realize the amount of technology that has graced the earth, you know, and what we've done with that technology, and now we need people to run that technology, and we need people to fix that technology, and we need people to come up with new technology. So it's just mind-boggling that that stuff is just ever evolving, and you just really don't realize it because you're just living life. At least I am. I never really think about that stuff, and this is getting really deep for me. So I'm sorry this video is taking so long because I'm getting deep into conversation about it. It's kind of interesting. And I'm sorry, that wasn't the last thing I was going to leave you with. Artificial intelligence is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. And artificial intelligence is supposed to replace jobs by 2060. Start replacing jobs. Replace jobs in construction and replace jobs in surgeries. Doctors already use not artificial intelligence sometimes, but they use machines to do surgeries now. And who knows, 20, 30 years down the road, you're going to have machines learning from themselves, learning anything and everything they can, and doing surgeries themselves, which I don't feel comfortable. I'd much rather have a doctor's hand, someone with morals behind the scalpel cutting into me, because I don't. It's hard to bring this up, but we don't need Terminator situation. Arnold Schwarzenegger's getting too old to save all of us now. He's not going to be there to yell, "Get the chopper," or nothing like that, you know. Come with me if you want to live. All that jazz. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, it's kind of scary that artificial intelligence is taking over like that and how quick it is on the rise. It's scary how quickly people are willing to give up jobs and not necessarily give it up, but like let machines start taking over as much as they're taking over. You know, some things are better off done by people, in my opinion. But yeah, this is my chapter 1 overview for technology and society, and I hope you enjoy this video.